Now, Josh Cassara, we communicate almost daily by text, by email, by phone. And the thing is that you might know his work from Venom, and he's amazing in Venom, but he has leveled up.
Mutants around the world are flocking to the island nation of Krakoa for safety, security, and to be part of the first mutant society. However, a new nation means new enemies. A quote from the book: "New enemies means a new response force. A team to do the dirty work Charles and the Quiet Council of Kakoa don't necessarily want to acknowledge to the public. That covert squad is X-Force. Or at least it will be in another issue or two." Writer Benjamin Percy has stated this will be the dirty Dawn of X comic with tons of action and consequences, which is great. Marauders is the swashbuckling fun adventures book. Excalibur deals with the magical elements. By all appearances, New Mutants will be dealing with the cosmic corner of the Marvel Universe. The X-Men needs a more serious, action-based series. And Benjamin Percy is just the writer to deliver it. I personally wasn't very impressed with many of the artists attached to the Dawn of X titles. There are good visual talents in the bunch, but no superstars to speak of. X-Force illustrator Joshua Cassara is easily the most talented artist for my money. His previous work on Venom and X-Force don't quite fit the vibe we've gotten from Dawn of X so far, but fit Ben Percy's description of the series like a glove. X-Force #1 doesn't feature the covert team of mutant intel and spec ops forces just yet. It's basically the origin of the team in the new X-Men status quo. This comic features a ton of action and character development. It does have a larger page count than normal, but I'm still shocked. Percy and Cassara fit so much into this comic, and it's terrific. X-Force #1 receives my highest recommendation. Readers who missed out on House of X and Powers of 10 but want to read a new X-Men book should jump on this title. It's way more accessible to new readers than the 3 previous Dawn of X titles. Before I get into the details of Ben Percy's X-Force, I ask if you haven't subscribed to Thinking Critical yet, please show your support and subscribe to the channel. Let your fellow comic readers know Thinking Critical is a valuable source for comic book reviews, news, discussion, and in-depth analysis. If you're enjoying the channel content, please subscribe. Now let's get into all the details in today's comic book review. X-Force doesn't look or feel like any other Dawn of X title so far. X-Men, Marauders, and Excalibur all have similar visual structure and coloring as the Hawks and Pox comics that relaunched the X-verse. Joshua Cassara's visuals deliver exactly what writer Benjamin Percy promised fans. The line art isn't quite as clean as its predecessors. The characters don't look nearly as pristine as before. Old school readers longing for the days of a stinky, hairy, gritty Logan are going to be very pleased. The action is very frenetic, and when Cassara gets the opportunity to make the characters look badass, he goes all in. Color artist Dean White adds a ton to the ambiance of the story. It's dark and foreboding. Gone are the beautiful colors making Krakoa look and feel like utopia. Joshua Cassara and Dean White make Krakoa feel like one of the most dangerous locations in the world. And if we're being honest, it really is, at least from an outside perspective. There's a ton of background detail when necessary, but Cassara uses a deft hand choosing to focus on the characters and their reactions in key moments, adding weight to Percy's excellent script. The only real criticism I have is some of the characters get drowned out during the action. Sometimes it's hard to tell which one of our heroes is in the mix. Other than that, the visuals are outstanding, and every character looks dope multiple times throughout the comic. Well, except for Colossus, but there's a reason for that, trust me. Fans of Wolverine, Marvel Girl, Beast, and Tom Cassidy will walk away satisfied Cassara made their favorite character look like the baddest mutant on the planet. As we saw in the previews, the island does get infiltrated during the story. The shot of the invading force descending on Krakoa is easily my favorite of the entire comic. Everything looks perfect here, and I absolutely love the callback to the Weapon X program with their headgear. I'm not sure if this means they're a part of the Weapon Plus or Weapon X programs, or if this is just a visual nod to the great Barry Windsor Smith. I know my boy Doc is rooting for more Weapons Plus in the new X-Men, so I'm sure others are as well. Joshua Cassara and Dean White leave their mark on Dawn of X. This is the first series that has its own look and feel, and I love it. Everything about the visuals, from the line art to the colors to the paneling, gets the adrenaline pumping. X-Force easily contains my favorite graphic work in the Dawn of X series so far. I rate the art 4.5 out of 5. Benjamin Percy hammers home that while Charles and the Krakoan leadership are off hobnobbing with foreign dignitaries securing diplomatic relations, there are many more powers who see the formation of Krakoa as a threat to the world. Even countries that claim to be allies of Krakoa are secretly moving against them. The opening scene sees a congress of masked men around a large round table. It looks to be representatives from around the world looking to discuss the threat Krakoa represents. They're testing everyone's blood before they get into the details to ensure there are no mutants among them. Of course, Domino is seated at the table, and let's just say things get physical fast, and things don't really work out in her favor in the end. We'll just leave it at that. I knew coming into X-Force that Logan is Percy's favorite character. When he talks about Wolverine, you can tell he identifies with him on an intimate level. I'm very happy Logan is back to being presented as the hairy loner who's basically the conscience of the mutant nation. Not surprisingly, he gets the best character moments in the story. But like I mentioned earlier, multiple characters get great moments in this comic. Logan saves Beast from a wild creature that looks to be half bear, half boar maybe. Anyway, the creature sneaks up on Beast and almost takes him out. Beast laments that it must not be from the island or it wouldn't have attacked him. Logan gives him some tough love. Whatever the hell that thing was, you didn't see it coming because you felt sheltered, and that's what Krakoa does. Makes everyone feel safe, and when you're safe, you're soft. Wolverine slashes to the heart of the problem with a lot of the mutants on Krakoa. They think that because they have sovereignty now, that the threat is gone. Everyone is relieved their nightmare is over. That's not how the world works. It's just begun. Logan's lived long enough to know that nobody is safe, ever. Mutants need to watch their six now more than ever. Benjamin Percy has a great feel for the character and what makes Logan special, and it ain't just his adamantium and healing factor. Black Tom Cassidy gets a surprising amount of screen time this comic. He's basically bonded with Krakoa and set up his own security system using the seaweed and pollen to monitor the seas and skies around Krakoa. He's basically aware of everything within a 25-mile grid around the island. There are several other mutants merging with Krakoa in unique ways based on their power sets. It makes me wonder, at what point can Krakoa start manipulating them? Is there a line where the sentient island becomes a puppet master of sorts? The Marauders arrive with the Russian mutants they saved in tow. Among them is a severely injured and mentally distraught Pyotr Rasputin. They take the refugees to the healing gardens, but everyone is unconscious. Jean Grey probes Colossus's mind to see what's wrong with him. And we start to learn what it's like for mutants in some of the nations that refuse to acknowledge their sovereignty. Pyotr and the other Russian mutants have been through hell. They've been attacked by tanks, had their farms burned, and many are dead. The mental state of Colossus when he recovers should be a very interesting reveal. But seeing these events hardens Marvel Girl the most. When all hell breaks loose later, and the fight is brought to Krakoa, she's got a noticeable edge to her. She appears to be losing it a bit and getting a taste for violence. And it's hard to blame her after everything she witnesses in the healing garden. Right before the invading force arrive on Krakoa, Tom Cassidy approaches Charles to object to the Russian refugees. He thinks all new mutants should arrive through the Krakoan portals so that they are properly vetted. Accepting mutants who arrive via ship is dangerous. Not only do they not know who these mutants are, but they don't know their motives for arriving. Charles responds, all mutants can be trusted. Now this could be the beginning of a refugee lecture in X-Force, but it is basically the extent of it in this issue. I'm giving X-Men architect Jonathan Hickman and writer Benjamin Percy the benefit of a doubt. If this is an integral thread to the new story, okay. There's no readers, writers can't use themes from current day events. But if this becomes a sermon about the creative team's personal beliefs on the subject, I'll have to rethink my support of the series. I'm not reading the Mutant CIA book to be preached to about real-world politics. But it hasn't happened yet, and I honestly don't expect it to. But I can see how this can go south with me. When the invading force arrive, they make an immediate impact. They shoot a female right in the forehead in front of Charles and Black Tom. And all the you-know-what hits the fan. Wolverine, Black Tom Cassidy, Marvel Girl, Beast, and others jump right into the action, and it's on. It's easily the second most exciting X-Men action sequence behind House of X number 4 since the reboot. There are all kinds of cool targeting graphics, and our hero's powers are in full effect. During the melee, Black Tom hems up one of the soldiers with vines and roots. One of the invading soldiers takes his shot and delivers a great line. That basically sums up what writer Ben Percy has been telling readers the entire time. Did you really not see this coming? Did you really think we weren't gonna fight back? Now, it's not clear who sent these soldiers. Is it the council from the opening scene? Perhaps this is retaliation for the Russians after the Marauders incident. Maybe they're even affiliated with Orcus. Who knows? One thing's for sure, the mutants of Krakoa have plenty of enemies at this point, and they've laid down the gauntlet. Mutant life on Krakoa isn't the safe existence many had dreamed of. This won't be the last conflict on Krakoan soil. If mutants want to thrive on Krakoa, they're going to have to fight for it. Writer Benjamin Percy does a fantastic job setting the table for his X-Force series. Mutants who feel safe on Krakoa have another thing coming. Logan sees this, Black Tom sees it, and Jean Grey is quickly coming to terms with it. Percy fills the comic with fantastic character moment after fantastic character moment. I rate the characterization 5 out of 5. A ton happens in this story, but it never feels rushed. The pacing is perfect. Ben Percy lays the through line for the series in exciting fashion. I rate the plot 5 out of 5. Before I wrap this up, I want to send a friendly reminder, if you can't get enough of Dawn of X, tune in tomorrow's edition of Outside the Bleed on Thinking Critical with my good friends Skip and Tosh. We're going to review Jonathan Hickman and Ed Brisson's New Mutants number 1. We're going to get into all our theories about what it all means and where we believe the story is heading. We leave the margins of the comic book and explore all the implications New Mutants number 1 has on Dawn of X as well as the Marvel Comics universe. Up until this point, the quality of the Dawn of X titles was decreasing with each release. X-Force arrives at the perfect time. This is easily my favorite new X-Men title so far. Benjamin Percy's series might not be as cerebral as Hickman's X-Men, but it brings a new level of physicality and consequences to the table. He paints a very different picture of life on Krakoa. Nobody is safe. Complacency is the enemy of the state. Artist Joshua Cassar's visuals fit Percy's narrative perfectly. I knew they would be a great creative team together, but this is next level stuff. X-Force number 1 is fantastic. I rate it 5 out of 5 overall. This comic receives my highest recommendation. This is the best X-Men comic since House of X number 4 in my opinion. Readers finding the new X-Men a bit boring or too lighthearted need to read X-Force. This is the X-Men comic that will put hair on your chest. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like. I would appreciate it very much. It helps us attract more views for the channel. Subscribe for future commentary, comic book news, and reviews. And don't forget to ring the bell for notifications. If you want to talk comics, movies, and much, much more, you can follow me on Twitter at Wes_from_TC. With that, Salamat Po, and I'm out.